Player of the Month and Manager of the Month awards in Scotland have been revealed for August, and we decided to wait for both of them to be revealed instead of going to each one individually. But let's start off with the Player of the Month, Callum Mcgregor. Shout out to Anglin Ayrshire, who said he can't wait to hear how we cry about Callum McGregor and how he's not good enough and how he won a bloody Player of the Month award, right? Well, you know what? There's no complaints here from Fog Football. You guys scored three wonder goals. His team sits top of the league. He sat in the midfield to dominate at the Old Firm, as per usual. I mean, can I make a case for another player? Off the top of my head, no. I'd need to think about it, but he'd probably be the guy that comes to mind first off, to be honest, to win it. So, yeah, Callum McGregor, kudos to you. I was going to say kudos to you, pal. He's not my pal. Jesus Christ, man. He's definitely not my pal. Definitely not. This guy's overseen more suffering in my life than most people. And most people will be able to agree with that. But Cal McGregor, 3 goals, 4 wins. The goal against Rangers. The goal against St Mirren. And who did he get the other goal? Was it against Kelly? Who else have Celtic beat? Hibs. Did he score against? Oh, it was the goal. He scored a wonder goal against Hibs. He didn't score against Kelly. So, yeah, well, I mean, look at the goals. I mean, it's the best start Callum McGregor's probably ever had this season. Celtic fans will be hoping he replicates that into the rest of the season, of course, into the Champions League. That's where his wonder strikes will mean a wee bit more. If he can start banging them in for like 40 yards and all that stuff, 40, 30 yards in the Champions League. Of course, Celtic do take on Slovan Bratislava on what date is it? Wednesday the 18th. So yeah, of course, Fog Football will be here for that. We'll be covering all the action for the European teams: Hearts, Rangers, Celtic. And of course, we'll look at when we do our European preview and review shows. We'll talk a lot about the other British and Irish teams as well. So it'll be a fun. We can't wait for the European action to begin. Can the coefficient be saved? And all that good stuff. But yes, Cal Mac for me definitely deserves his Player of the Month award. Don't think many people can complain about him getting it. But can anyone really complain about Jimmy Thelin getting Manager of the Month, right? And before any Celtic fans want, oh, but we're top, it's expected for Celtic to be top of the league. This guy's no lost a game, and he's won every game. And Aberdeen sit, joint on points, albeit they're not joint top because Celtic have better goal difference, but he's still sitting top of the league, right? Now, maybe if it was ending via Zoom call, they wouldn't know what to do, sort of top of the league. But for me, Jimmy Thelin is Manager of the Month. Rodgers had a fantastic start of the season, but, it's nothing that no one expected. Everyone expected Celtic to be 4 wins out of 4, even though they had tough games in there. Easter Road, St Mirren, both tougher than Rangers at home. Oh, I mean, I wish I didn't have to say that, but it is. And yeah. And by the way, if anyone wants to cry about that, go look at the stats. Hibs have been the toughest team for Celtic in like the past decade. So yeah, before you start greeting about that is the stats. All right. And so Jimmy Thelin for me absolutely warrants his Manager of the Month award. I mean, in terms of other managers, who could you give it to? I mean, for me, the only other guy, I think there's two. I think Rodgers and Goodwin are the only other two that are warranted even being in the debate. Obviously, Rodgers, he's 4 wins out of 4. He sits top of the league. He's won an Old Firm, etc., right? But you've got Jim Goodwin, on the other hand, who is undefeated, and he sits third in the table for a newly promoted side. Like, I know a lot of us joke and say, well, the Dundee clubs, they don't really feel like newly promoted sides when they come up because, the yo-yo, but the reality is they still are a newly promoted club, and they sit third after 4 games is probably more than any Dundee United fan could have expected. So, for me, I think they're the only 3 in the conversation, but I would have gave it to Jimmy Thelin. There's been a lot of hype about Aberdeen recently, and here, if you gave it to any of the other 3, I wouldn't sit here and greet, but Goodwin, he's only got 8 points at the end of the day. It would have been a bit disrespectful almost to Jimmy Thelin to not give him it. And as for Rodgers, well, you just expect Celtic to be 4 out of 4, and they are 4 out of 4, so nothing out of the ordinary there. If Aberdeen were sitting on 9 or 10, would Rodgers have got it? Now, it would have been more up for debate, but It would have been intriguing to see. But anyway, guys, no complaints here for Fog Football. Callum McGregor gets Player of the Month, and Jimmy Thelin gets Manager of the Month.